Monday, June 19th. Wearing the hoodie. It was cool enough to put a hoodie on this morning. Sleeveless. Alright, let's, surprisingly, let's use topical current events to look at the what and why is happening, perhaps better explain the mechanisms behind the current events. So, given the fact that I tend to post these so late, I'm averaging 3 months behind, I'm curious where the typical person's sense and emotions will be surrounding the recent SCOTUS overturning of Roe v. Wade. So we're going to use that as our jumping off point here. So if that upon hearing the news triggered you, then this video is definitely for you. So this is a bit of a multi-pronged current event in terms of what it achieves in regards to its manipulation and control of the populace. Okay, first and foremost, this video is not about an opinion of mine regarding what the overturning of Roe v. Wade is. It is merely a peeling back of the layers to explain why it is happening and what the broader implications are. You're entitled and justified to your opinion regarding it. And most certainly take a moment to step back and view whatever emotions you have tied to this and analyze and sit with those. We'll revisit your emotions in a moment. Okay, so first of all, above and beyond what the overturning of it signifies in what we're just going to term the 3D realm. In other words, what the average person understands the implications to be. In this case, it's the legality of abortion. I'm going to kind of just put that to the side because that's not really what we're looking at here. How many major event distractions have transpired just in the last 6-ish months since the beginning of 2022? They are playing on the major cards, the major topics, themes, industries. We've had war, Ukraine and Russia, which was the precursor to World War 30. Okay? That got played up, loud, fast, hot. Remember, COVID seemed to disappear. New variants seemed to take a back burner. We've had rumblings on the sustenance side. We've heard the fear pot stirred regarding upcoming food shortages, the strangely long list of food establishments that have been bombed or caught on fire. Energy, power, they've already worked on that. Fuel is at almost record highs. We've had another shooting, gun rights. I mean, I'm pretty impressed. I'm not sure if there's any of the major topics, and by major I mean the ones that will grip you so viscerally that you will expend and expel and waste your time and energy embroiling your emotions and attaching them to what is transpiring in these otherwise insignificant events. Now, if you're getting triggered out by that, by declaring that what is happening is not significant, I speak only to to the acts in which they are apparent in the 3D realm, okay? Not the broader implications. So they're really stirring the pot of agitation, anxiety, and fear. They're putting a lot of cards on the table. I'm willing to take bets on what the next major event would be, but to go with the abortion card at this point signifies something pretty significant, having already had a shooting and the war earlier. So they're putting a lot out there. So why are we doing this? Well, they are continual distractions. That is first and foremost, and these create a dialectic. And for those of you that never wanted to be involved in the dialectic, you can't help but get pulled into it in some regard. And the real bummer is, even when you stand on the side of truth, you now have to spend some of your time defending your position regarding truth. The battle over the Second Amendment would be one of those, where you are endowed to bear arms no matter what anyone says or suggests. But if they suddenly make an attempt to try to disarm you, you have to spend time protecting that right of yours. So not only are they a distraction, but they are requiring or taking time, and time is just an expenditure of energy. It's all about energy. They are taking your energy and putting it towards something you ought not have to concern yourself with. Okay? Because if you only get 24 hours a day, or 10,000 calories a day to burn, whatever you got in you, and you spend it doing things over and over again and not putting it towards something more important, say expanding consciousness, discovering deeper truth, etc., then you're going to be limited in what you can accomplish, okay? The distraction is also keeping you unaware of other things that might be happening, right? It's the classic, look over here while we do something else over on this side. Now, we're not going to get into the other things that they are doing while they distract you so much as point out the fact that, given the highly volatile topics that they have chosen, it would strongly suggest that much other larger things would be transpiring for them to want to play such significant trump cards in terms of the distractions. Again, the war, the shooting, now coming out, overturning Roe v. Wade. It is imperative that for anyone to make any real progress with themselves, which is the precursor action that must be taken before you can make any real change around you, right? The adage, you have to fix your own house before you can help your fellow man. And so it is so imperative to be able to see things for what they are, not for what they desire you to see them as. So if you can only see this recent overturning as the hot button issue directly tied to abortion, then you are missing the larger point of why they are choosing to make this decision now. Again, this is not to say that your opinion regarding the decision on either side is right or wrong. But if you got triggered by this, especially if you get triggered badly by it, how much emotion is being created? Okay? We've already talked about how these are a distraction. They are a misdirection. They are causing you to expend energy on something that is keeping you from expounding it on other important things in life. And they are creating massive division amongst us, where we are now seeing enemies in our midst, friends that are no longer friends. Many hours, many thumb strokes on social media spent declaring your position and opinion. And so they've got us embroiled against each other, okay? Which plays into the misdirection, which creates dialectics. On top of that, and this is where we start to get into some of the occulted part of it, which is a little harder to digest for some. On top of that, these emotions that are created, anger, fear, anxiety, hatred, a lot of bad emotions, they thrive on that. They absolutely thrive on that. Not only do they just have some sick, twisted pleasure in seeing other people suffer, but think of it as an actual transfer of power, like a machine, absorbing the power or extracting the power out of a battery. You're the battery, okay? You're giving your energy, and I mean this literally as much as, like metaphorically. They thrive on your ill emotions. They thrive on the fear that is created. What is this cop doing? Blue light bar on. Okay? In the same way that they harvest the energy that is created from those that go off to war and kill each other, they also are harvesting your negative emotions surrounding any of these types of trigger events. Okay? No differently than the confusion, fear, frustration that so many people had when 9/11 went down, right? So these events work on these multiple levels: distraction, confusion, energy harvesting, division amongst, otherwise friendly people. And you also have to come to terms with whatever these trigger events are. They don't care for one moment what the 3D implications are outside of anything that might serve them in a tangible sense, right? So if it's two countries going to war, they don't care how many people die. In fact, the more, the better. If it's the overturning of Roe v. Wade or the re-overturning, flip-flop back and forth. They don't actually care what that outcome is, because to them it's just a distraction. And this is discounting the more satanic side of the energy harvesting, because, and here's yet another tangent. When you look at the history of Planned Parenthood, and then when you start to understand the much longer view history of blood sacrifice, human sacrifice, and the energy harvesting, the facade of I don't know what you would describe it as, what people have come to understand as a justified abortion. The facade of that is just a smokescreen for them, and in the back they're performing all these satanic rituals, regardless of whether or not it's legal. Again, this is not to address what most people understand the ruling to mean in our 3D world. In other words, in the world we operate, where most people understand people are going about their daily lives. This isn't about those kind of abortions. or those kind of acts, because these sick psychopaths will be performing any and every type of ritual that they want, regardless of the legality. This is just one of those hot button issues that people are so emotionally tied to that it really distracts people from what's going on. So in other words, regardless of what the legality of anything is, those behind the scenes are going to continue to perform what we would consider, heinous, illegal acts, regardless of what the law says, because they just create these laws, which are not even necessary once one comes to understand natural law, but that's another topic. They create these as a means to manipulate and control us, and then distract us by changing their interpretations of them, as we're seeing in the SCOTUS ruling, when in fact, if it was legal, illegal, doesn't matter, they will continue to harvest both literal parts of humans and the energetic parts, regardless of what the general populace is adhering to. And I know for those of you that have not yet really gone down the rabbit hole, the most sick, twisted things you can imagine are really happening, and they're happening by those in power, those making the rules, and by those that actually control the people you think are in control. So all this to be said, this is yet another great example to see how violently twisted people can become wrapped up emotionally when they seek to push a button here in society. Because until you begin to unveil the occulted reasons, the occulted information, the hidden information of what's going on, you will only see this ruling for what it is on face value, whether you boil that down to women's rights, my body, my choice adage, the term abortion. At the end of the day, that is not what this is about. Again, that is what it is about in terms of our 3D world, understanding. And it is so hard if you are emotionally attached to this, because therein lies the dialectic of what you have been pulled into. Okay? There's that distraction. There's that division. Immediately, right? You can't see the forest for the trees. Okay? All these major events in history have been operating on the same levels of division, distraction, blood sacrifice. Okay? Yes, you may be genuinely outraged on either side of this issue. All of that emotion going somewhere. Imagine someone's outrage upon learning of the mass casualties in World War II. Okay? Yet another trigger event that also has implications in the 3D world. See, these all work on so many levels. So, what do you need to do? You need to begin to study the occulted information of who's in power, what they are doing, why they are doing it. You need to do inner work to sort out within yourself where your thoughts are coming from, who's in control of your thoughts, who's influencing them, how those directly translate to your emotions. There's nothing wrong with emotions. Emotions are what make us feel real. But if you're not in control of those, who is? This is not to say that your emotion was not justified, but to be able to cultivate a certain level of non-attachment, not necessarily to the outcome as you perceive it in the 3D world, but as you begin to unravel what is really happening, now you can begin to shift your emotions and direct them towards something of substance instead of fighting some foggy, invisible, non-tangible, illusory bad guy over here. As you discover truth, all those emotions you have tied to this ruling can be directed and pointed at the actual perpetrator behind this. I feel like I'm probably beating a dead horse at this point. Either you understand what I'm saying at 20 minutes or you don't. You need to see this for what it really is. It's just another card of fuckery being played. They are tugging at the major heartstrings of a lot of people, specifically with this ruling and the other events that I outlined earlier in this, that have been happening in the last 6 months. They are working on something big. They are doing many other things in the shadows while you remain wrapped up in what is happening on the TV screen and what you perceive to be the implications and significance of it. Take a moment to step back, see things for what they really are. You start to go down that rabbit hole to discover the truth. Then you can better apply your emotions towards right action so that you can actually create positive change.